Hey, and you're listening to the Smack Raw podcast.
Welcome everyone to the Smack Raw podcast NXT recap episode. We are the exclusive wrestling recap podcast for WrestlingNewsWorld.com. Check them out for all the latest news, rumors, and stuff like that within the wrestling world. We're also found right here on YouTube.com/SmackRaw podcast. I didn't butcher the URL this time. I actually got it going perfectly. I am your host, as always, SES Vince, joined by my brother Jay Thunder. How's it going, my man?
What's up, man? What's going on?
All right, we're here to talk another NXT, but we got a special guest this week. We got Chicago's own stepbrother of the podcast, Matt Ritter himself. How's it going, bro?
Dude, I'm doing fan-fucking-tastic.
That's good, man. I've been meaning to get you on here, man. Like you've become kind of like the honorary member of the Smack Raw podcast. You've integrated yourself into the show and worked with just about everyone on the podcast.
I like to feel like I'm your favorite guest host. I know Rob absolutely loves me. He sent me some emails that I don't think I should read out loud to people.
Oh.
But he's a big fan. No, I've really wanted to come on because I've worked with you and I've worked with Aaron. I've worked with Rob and Kevin and Kyle. But I have not got to work with Jay. And I got to do that little beta test for the video game or the game show with Jay.
Yeah.
We had fun. Dude's smart, cool as hell. We got along real well. So I was like, I got to get on and do a podcast with Jay. Plus, Jay talked about how much more entertaining you've become since your association with me with all your sexual references and your deep dive into Pornhub. So,
I've gotten a little bit more raunchier with my commentary on the podcast.
I think for the most part, he's gotten Vince has gotten out of his shell ever since he's talked to you. So it's kind of like, it's a good thing. And like, okay. I was like, Vince doesn't sound as robotic as he used to.
Like I said, you'll always be my first, Vince.
And I appreciate that, man. You never forget your first. But hey, if you like the kind of content we deliver right here on the Smack Raw podcast, go ahead and give this episode a download. It really helps out the show. Give it a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts, review, all that good stuff. Give this episode a thumbs up on YouTube. Comment down below. Hit the notification button. All that good stuff. Subscribe. That being said, let's get into the recap. This is what we're here for. We're actually here to talk about NXT, and they opened things up pretty hot. We started off with a brand new dual champ. Keith Lee, he comes out, and he starts off by like talking about the celebrations of him like winning the title. Like, yes, these are like trying times, but magical things happen right here in the ring. It felt like a very sincere moment for Keith, and honestly it was a moment that I didn't really see happening anytime soon when he initially had his run in NXT, because if you guys remember, it took him a minute to actually be booked properly. There was a spell there where he was just sitting and catering and wasn't even being used. So to look back and see where he's at now, I think is very, very rewarding for not only him, but the fans of his and everybody that just likes wrestling in general. Because I think overall, he's like the most well-liked wrestler in the entire wrestling business currently. But yeah.
I'm big on Keith Lee. I love me some Keith Lee. I was stoked as hell when I saw him drop that BBC, that 1, 2, 3. I was all for it. I'm really pissed that we didn't get a Mamma Mia. He hit him with the BBC.
Yeah.
Morrow, you need to work on that. If you hear this, come on, give it to me just once. Just
one time. But Keith Lee, he was very gracious. He was here to like thank and acknowledge all the people that supported him and believed in him. He mentioned this trainer, Tim Brooks. I'm not familiar with him whatsoever, but that was kind of cool. They got him a little shout out. I'd like to think that if Jay ever makes it big in the wrestling business, he'd like to like give us a little prop here and there, mention us, once he finally makes it big.
Trust me. Anytime, because I hope to be in that position where Keith Lee is right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like one day, like give me about a couple of years, I hope to be in that same position, and like all the little people like you guys.
Little people, okay.
You know what? I haven't been called a little person in a long time, so I'm gonna take it. I normally get big guys, so
yeah, true. But see, here's the thing: I'm Mexican, and I get little people joke a lot, so a little offense there. But that's okay. I love you anyway, Jay.
Anyway, like I said, the people who were with me in the beginning,
for sure, man,
is definitely gonna get a shout out.
So
Definitely.
another person he shouted out was Dominik Dijakovic, and he actually brought him out. And what I really like to say, they had a nice little sincere moment between the two. You're shaking your head, Matt, right now, and you're gonna let me know why you're shaking your head. But he proposed a match to Dijakovic because he felt that he's earned it. He's brought the best out of him in the ring, and he proposed the match. He said he talked to Regal. Dijakovic was a little hesitant to accept that first, but he said yes, and we had that as like the second to last match. I think there was like a match in between, but like it started in between. Yeah, I think it kicked off the second half of the show. So I was all for it. Like Keith Lee, Dijakovic, I don't mind them in the ring together. They have really good chemistry. Matt, but please tell us why you're shaking your head though.
Because I've seen this match within 2026 fucking times. Like, don't get me wrong. I get it. I understand there's mutual respect there, and I get that, and I'm cool with that. But we saw them have their series. Lee won the series. We saw them both go for the North American title. Lee won the North American title. I'm pretty sure he successfully defended it, and Dijakovic was in that match as well. Now he's champion, and he's beating Dijakovic again. So all Dijakovic has done is put on really good matches and lose to Keith Lee in 2020. That's really it. So I didn't need to like. It was a fine match, and we'll talk about it when we get to it. But like, I didn't need to see it again. Like, you've got Finn Balor, you've got all these other guys that we can get Keith Lee interacting with. I didn't need to see him and Dijakovic again.
Okay, fair. I have a point to add once we get to the match itself and why this happened. But Jay, what do you think? What you feel about like them like rewinding this matchup again?
You know, I have to. I'm more of a. I kind of understood why they did it, and that's okay. But I also with Matt on this one, like, we didn't need to see it again. Like, it wasn't necessary.
Okay.
It wasn't something that we hadn't seen before. I mean, we've seen like how many times have we seen it?
Yeah,
but at the same time, I get it because of the fact that, I mean, like, even in the celebration last week, Dijakovic was in there. He was celebrating with him. Yeah, he came out like. It was something to give. It was some momentum to give Dijakovic, even though we knew he was going to lose.
I was just glad to see Dijakovic again.
It was something to put him in, because to be quite honest with you, we haven't seen him on TV in like how long?
Exactly. It's been a minute. I can't remember the last time he was actually on TV. So for that reason, I was just glad he was back.
When he was with Keith Lee. That was the last time he was on TV.
So they only bring him out. They only roll him out on NXT where he's doing something with Keith Lee apparently.
I mean. Apparently,
but we'll see, man. I think I'd like to think of it within the storyline confines of things. It's more or less like, this is my friend. I just won dual championships. I like to give him the opportunity because I feel like
but at the same time, I want them to do something with him.
Fair. Yeah.
So what you're saying is Keith Lee did this so he didn't have to do the Drew McIntyre later.
Yeah.
And have Dijakovic come out and be like, you promised me a match and you never gave me one, and then bust his ass, pin him, and
exactly. So what I'm saying is that Keith Lee's a better friend to Drew McIntyre. That's what I'm saying.
I'm with you on that.
Okay.
I can deal with that. I can take that one.
So next up, we had the first match of the night, which was Damian Priest versus Cameron Grimes. Damian Priest wasn't playing around. He started this match striking Grimes. Like, Grimes couldn't even get his jacket off initially to even start off the match. There was a monstrous like razor's edge onto the apron. The tornado spin kick that he hit on Grimes while he was hung on the ropes was really good. The reckoning, like, this really felt like Damian Priest taking out his aggression out on Cameron Grimes and moving on to other things, which is something that he actually did after the match, where he's like, Dijakovic, Keith Lee, I'm gonna keep an eye out the winner of that main event. So that I felt like this was just basically, hey, we're going to move you on to something else. This is just you taking out your aggression. And Grimes already got like the cheap, like heel win against Damian Priest a couple weeks back.
Well, then that's the case then. So technically it's 1-1 now, right?
Yeah. They could do a rubber match for sure.
So basically what that means is that they're going to have one more match. Like, it's going to happen. like they built up Cameron Grimes way too much for him to just be that.
I mean, he was beat pretty quickly and easily.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Well,
like,
I love the story that they told because Cameron Grimes has been slashing tires, jumping him from behind, doing all this stuff. So Damian Priest hasn't gotten that comeuppance yet. So he's got all this built up anger, and he went out and just whooped his ass. Like what you'd want to see Damian Priest do, what you'd want to do if you were Damian Priest. He went out there and he handled his business, and it made Priest look great. Just like coming out of that match with Finn Balor made Priest look great. So I'm getting behind him. I just wish he'd stop with the stupid fucking Archer shit because
I like it, man.
Him doing the bow and arrow with no bow and arrow. I didn't even like the spin kick in the corner.
Really?
It wasn't for me. I don't know. It was like maybe it was just the arrow set up where he aimed the arrow first and fired. Right. Maybe that's why I was like automatically this is stupid. But it just that one sequence didn't do it for me. But other than that, I'm with Priest all the way. Like I'm good with it. I'd be fine with them having one more rubber match.
I mean, me personally, I wouldn't mind him not using that tornado kick because I mean, like, to be quite honest with you, the only person that I really want to see do it is Kofi. That's the only person I really want to see.
Fair. But this is wrestling in 2020. Everybody uses everybody's finisher. We have people out here doing tombstones and stuff in the indies. Same situation
with what's her name? Tegan Knox.
Yeah,
the fucking choke slam. Like
that.
I don't want to see that. That's not even. That's a finisher, bro. That's
stop choke slamming, Tegan. I swear to God, stop choke slamming.
Okay. See, I don't personally mind it, but apparently you guys that's a pet peeve of you guys.
She's not. If Rhea Ripley did it, or if Raquel Gonzalez did it, because the rest of the roster is that size, that would work for me. I'd let Raquel do it. Tegan is not big enough to be choke slamming other women.
Thank you.
Fair.
Thank you.
And I've said that point. I've said that point multiple times. I agree with that point. It's one of those things where if you got a smaller competitor that can sell it, like Dakota Kai, I feel like it could work. But
they're the same size. If you ask Travis, they're the same person.
Yeah,
you can't tell them apart.
That's true. That's Travis.
Yeah, I know.
So overall, I do think this might lead to another match because the first match was in Grimes' advantage because of the injury prior to it. Now Damian Priest, he came in like full head of steam and just blindsided Grimes. So we could see a third rubber match where they actually go in the ring and actually have like a good 15-minute brawl or something.
I also wouldn't be surprised if they didn't do it because of the character that Grimes has. After getting his ass beat, I could see him not wanting to go back in there with Damian Priest. Just trying to move on.
Fair point, man. For sure.
Hey, man, he could be going straight to the moon.
Maybe. But I know for a fact he wouldn't want to be in the ring with Timothy Thatcher. And we had like a Thatcher's Thatch can, another vignette. I really like this kind of stuff. It's really good because for the most part, it illustrates the strengths of Timothy Thatcher without actually letting him go on the mic. He's showing his aggression is what he does best, getting in the ring, locking submissions. He's teaching us about catch wrestling or Thatch wrestling camp or whatever. Are these doing anything for you, Matt? Are you
I say this every week over on the Smack and Raw podcast on Pornhub, where you can find us along with other places that you guys find podcasts, but that's not important. It reminds me of...
you said on Pornhub?
Yes, we're on Pornhub.
Oh my God. You know what?
It's Creatia World on Pornhub. So it's Pornhub/user/Creatia World. And you guys will find all of our shit on there. No, it reminds me of Sal Bandini from Ready to Rumble, or what I think Stu Hart would be like down in the dungeon.
Right.
The way he treats these guys, the way he handles these guys, that's what I think of when I see it. And it's entertaining and it's cool. Like I said, Sal Bandini was one of my favorite parts of that Ready to Rumble movie, where he's this old ass man just stretching these little kids.
Sal Bandini, want to wrestle?
Yep. You hear those stories about Stu Hart just taking guys down there and basically getting off, just snapping their limbs and making them cry. Like, that's what I see from Thatcher, and I'm good with that. Like, that's a character I can get behind.
Yeah, I'm really liking it. I think this is perfect for him. And throughout the entirety, I like how it's not enough for him to beat his opponent. He's teaching his students that you need to imply more humiliation. You need to actually hurt them. And there's nothing more satisfying than hearing your opponent cry in pain. And it's something that makes them in Thatcher's mind. I guess what I'm getting from these promos is if you do that, then you leave a lasting impression of them, of your opponent, with after the match is over. So that's one thing that I really like about Thatcher, and it looks like he's got some stuff lined up for him going forward too.
I will say, if he really wants to add insult to injury, he should teabag his opponents while snapping their limbs.
That'd be next level, man. That'd be next level. I'm all for Thatcher. You just go and teabagging his opponents, man. I think more people should go ahead and do that.
That's such a huge bag move, but it'd be great.
I'm all teabags and body bags around here.
Hey,
man.
look,
Like,
if you're gonna if you're gonna,
hey guys, hashtag that teabags and body bags.
teabags and body bags. I like that, man. I like that. We're coming up with hashtags left and right, man. Moving on though, we do have Shotzi Blackheart taking the Indy Hartwell. Jay, Matt, are either of you guys familiar with Indy too much, other than the small appearances we've seen of her on NXT?
I'm not.
Jay?
No, like this is the first time I was seeing her. I mean, I was more so interested in Shotzi in the tank. So
obviously, for obvious reasons, you guys are having a lot more in common than I imagined you guys would.
Really? I knew it was gonna be like this the whole time.
Oh, okay. So you knew what we were getting into. I get you. Okay.
He knew. I didn't, but he did.
But overall, I was excited for this matchup because I do like Indy Hartwell. I think there's some potential there. We need to like dive out what her character is. I've seen a couple of her work here in with Rise Women's Wrestling here in Chicago, so I've been able to see a couple of her matches and see her work. There wasn't too long of a match. The one thing that really stood out to me, I wasn't even focused on the match too much, was Tom Phillips was playing the heel commentator role, which is completely new.
Which was weird.
It was so weird. It was completely out of left field.
I'm so used to him being, the face or like the middle guy.
Yeah.
And he was playing the heel, and I was like, huh?
And what made it weirder was that he was completely right. Beth Phoenix was trying to defend the fact that Shotzi Blackheart ran over Robert Stone's ankle last week, and Tom Phillips is like, no, like this is revenge. This is like comeuppance for what Shotzi did last week. And Beth Phoenix the entire time being oblivious to the whole thing, just no selling the whole thing.
Well, that's one thing.
Being JR.
I was gonna say that's one thing Travis always talks about is the reason why you don't like heels is because 9 times out of 10, what they're saying is right.
You're right.
They're telling the truth. It's just the truth you don't want to hear. So my thing is, we saw how Michael Cole did when they let him play heel for a little while, and that kind of came out of left field too. So I'm sure this is just something they're trying with Tom. He's kind of Michael Cole-esque. He could be Michael Cole's little brother. I don't know.
Probably.
So maybe they're looking for something else because Nigel's not around to play that role.
Exactly.
They need
is he
someone
still
to fill
stuck
it.
in the UK?
Yeah, he is, unfortunately. Okay, so yeah, that's what I figured they were going for, because it just seemed completely weird, because the entirety of the show, like, he was still babyface, but for that one specific match, he was playing the heel commentator role. Maybe they were just trying to test it out, see if he can pull it off. I think he did great in that role. And I think that's something that NXT's commentary team is missing, that you need that heel commentator to, like, back the heels. It can't be just, like, 3 guys agreeing with each other. Just like in the podcast, you can't have, like, 3 guys agreeing with each other, because it doesn't make for an entertaining, like, viewing experience. I mean, that's why you and Travis get along so well, and I enjoy your guys' podcast. You guys are always...
we don't agree on shit.
You guys don't agree on most things, man. But I thought it was really good. I thought it was really good, his commentary. The big point here, Robert Stone comes out, distracts the ref, which allows Aaliyah to come and interfere in the match, which gives Indy Hartwell the win. And they built this up as Indy's first win in NXT, which I like to see them build up more women in NXT, because I feel like we keep losing women to the main roster, like Bianca Belair and Shayna Baszler, and they don't do nothing with them over there. And then NXT just starts getting depleted every single time. They did that with the women's division, and they do that with the tag team division too. They always have to rebuild and start over from scratch.
Well, also don't forget, depending on what happens with NXT UK, there may be an influx of female wrestlers into the NXT roster if they don't have a roster to hold up that over there. You'll get Kaylee Ray, Piper Niven, Toni Storm, Ginny, all of them flooding in. So you're going to have more than enough women once they can get over here from the UK.
Right. If that's the case. Yeah, for sure. And like I mentioned, the tag team division was very depleted, but it looks like they're adding more people into the tag team division. Legado del Fantasma, they had a nice little promo. I'm kind of sold on Joaquin Wild and Raul Mendoza as a tag team. This faction as a whole, the whole vignette gave me like an El Cartel vibe to it. It was so good. They mixed some Spanish, some English in between there, and god damn it, Triple H is really good at this. Takes a very good looking Mexican luchador that's masked, takes the mask off. It's like, hey man, go charm everybody. You can talk English, you can go ahead, you're charming, you have a great look. Do that. We want Santos Escobar. We don't want El Hijo de Fantasma. And that's really good. That worked for Andrade, because I've never seen Andrade show like much character until he got to NXT and was able to like show off his stuff.
Andrade is not the person that can speak the good English like Santos Escobar.
Yeah, but he had Selena to help him out, and Santos Escobar doesn't need that. I'm just saying, I like overall, I think this is just me being biased, but I think this is one of the best things going to NXT currently. I'm very invested in what they're going on, and it looks like they're trying to like get rid of Drake Maverick out of the way. They're still gonna do that one final match between Maverick and Santos Escobar, but I like how they're addressed Breezango meddling in their business. And like you mentioned last week, Matt, you were questioning whether or not the masks worn by Breezango were offensive. Apparently, Raul Mendoza and Joaquin Wild were offended by them disrespecting Lucha Libre. I don't think it was racially insensitive, but it insulted the heels, which is what it was supposed to do. I'm all for this faction, especially since Raul Mendoza's been with NXT since before the Cruiserweight Classic. Joaquin Wild joined in that breakout tournament. They weren't really doing much. They were just floundering. This has given them purpose and motivation. I'm with it, man. I thought the vignette was perfect for what it was supposed to do.
Those tag team titles on them at this point.
Yeah. I mean, we haven't seen Imperium show up at all since they defended the titles to Breezango.
No. Like at this point, I feel like this is the faction right now. Like this is the faction that needs to get all the momentum right now because everything's going well for them.
Mm-hmm.
Like this could be the faction that kind of like, slowly but surely, runs NXT. You never know.
Okay, I can see that, especially with the rumors that supposedly Undisputed Era might be getting called up, and that's why.
What I'm saying.
Yeah, so they could come in and fill in the void that Undisputed Era leaves behind. What do you think, man?
I'm not going to be the white person that comes in here and tells a Hispanic person what should or shouldn't be racially offensive to them. So I'm with you on it. If you're good with it, I'm good with it. I do think that they're kind of playing up that cartel stereotype a little bit, but I enjoy the shit out of it.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to see Raul and Joaquin get those tag team titles, or at least start a program with Imperium or who we've got here from Imperium.
Mm-hmm.
That back in, I don't know who would be the baby face,
right,
in that feud there between the two. So there's that. Who do you root for? These guys
more or less. I feel like Imperium will be they're still going to be the heels.
Yeah.
Either way,
you got the guys trying to tear down NXT to rebuild the legacy, or you've got the pseudo Nazis and Imperium over there holding the titles.
One thing they could do is throw in Breezango, make a triple threat, and they take the pin, and then you have like kind of like what's it called? Those people that help out in the porn business, buffer. Like Breezango can be the buffer for this tag team feud, so you can get the tag titles onto Legado de Fantasma. Fluffer. Okay.
Yes.
See, I wouldn't know, man. This is why I come to you for the expertise, for the knowledge, man.
Wow, I'm learning so much right now.
We are, man. We didn't have this back in high school, man. We didn't have the sex ed that Matt Ritter is giving us right here on the Smack Raw podcast, apparently.
I got that at Thornwood High School. So
did you?
Yeah.
Well, I never paid attention to the ins and outs of porn.
Are you serious?
Dead serious. Grew up in South Holland, born in Harvey.
So tell me, you're South?
Yes.
Nice. Yeah, Jay's pretty South too. He's not that far from you, actually.
He's not that. No, he's not that.
Well, right now I'm not South. Right now I'm in Elgin. I'm in the northwest suburbs now. But I was
okay. Well, I know where Elgin is, but yeah. But Thornwood, I know where Thornwood is. It's not far at all from me.
Yeah, I was born and raised. I was born in Harvey, raised in South Holland.
Jesus, that's like down the street from me. Oh my God.
I've actually been spending a lot of time in South Holland. I've been going south the last couple of weeks. So like, had you been there, we might have been able to catch a pizza or two, man.
Yeah, wow.
Aurelio's,
Small
it's my
world,
shit.
man. Small world.
If you're in South Holland, go get an Aurelio's pizza.
What Aurelio's?
Yes.
Dude, I've drove past like 3 different one of those. Or
Yeah, I was
like
gonna
at
say
least 2.
there's like a couple of them over there.
South Holland and Homewood are the 2 best.
Okay.
Homewood's the
Yeah.
original, South Holland's the second.
Okay.
So those are the 2 original in the franchise. So those are the 2.
Funny,
best
I was
places
just over at the Portillo's in Homewood, the new one.
to go. Yeah.
The new one
Nice.
over there.
Yeah, I checked that one out too. It's really good. It's not bad.
Yeah, it is.
I think they actually have dine-in now, but let's dine in on this winner take all match between Dominik Dijakovic and Keith Lee. We're getting a little sidetracked talking about our Chicago lifestyles and like similarities.
Hey man, it happens.
It is. It is.
We got 3 Chicagoans in the building. It happens.
Imagine when we get the Get Show podcast and Benji on here, we just wouldn't shut up about Chicago. We'd have a whole 2-hour podcast talking about Chicago.
Yeah, we're just gonna cut. We're not gonna let Kyle talk.
Exactly.
I wouldn't talk at all.
You're not one of us, Kyle.
Exactly. He wouldn't get it.
I can't believe he's gonna let me come back on. I've talked so much shit.
It's fine. It's fine. It's a love-hate relationship. But going back to the match, or starting to talk about the match, I thought it was a really great match. It wasn't their best, but they definitely always deliver. I thought it was good for what it was supposed to be. It was like a nice little palate cleanser, get you going before the main event. And quick shout out, I love that women main eventing on NXT is becoming the norm. And it's becoming so common. You're like, oh, cool, their main event. It's no longer a big deal, and that's the one thing that I wanted to get to, where like everybody like, oh, the women are finally main eventing. No, I wanted to get it to a point where like, yeah, the women should main event because this is the bigger, higher stake match. And this one was, no offense, nothing against Dijakovic, but he wasn't going to get the straps. If it was for the North American title. Just the North American title, I would have believed Dijakovic maybe getting the title.
It would have been believable.
Yeah.
It would have added a little bit more believability to the whole situation. They hit a lot of big moves in this match from both guys. The rope hung Sister Abigail that Keith Lee brought out, I've never seen him hit that. The blockbuster from the top rope from Dijakovic, I thought that was really good. And then the finishing sequence where Keith Lee one-hand choke slams Dijakovic, gets all hyped up like he's Hulk Hogan or the Incredible Hulk or something.
Do not compare him to Hulk Hogan.
Who's someone like Broly from Dragon Ball Z? Like he gets super hyped up, gets into his mode, and then
you know Keith Lee. He's I know he's pretty big in to cartoons and anime, so that would work.
Yeah, Broly. Yeah, so he went.
I'm sorry, you know how I feel about
it. Yeah, I know. It's like it's because he's associated. It's like with the whole like action of like.
I understand.
Opening up. I mean, clearly.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's like one of those things you try to like unlearn. But
we're gonna have to change it to like Leeing up or Keithin up or something.
Up. Yeah, he just went Ultra Instinct Keith Lee towards the end because he goes to set up for the BBC and Dijakovic tries to escape. He hits him with elbows and Keith Lee's like nope, hits him with it, gets the 1, 2, 3. I thought this was a really good match. I liked how to begin things off. It was very like they were showing each other respect. There was a lot of sportsmanship. At one point, like you can tell that they were 2 guys that knew each other well, and knew each other's tricks and in its outs, and were able to like figure each other out. So I like the match overall. But Matt, like you said, you felt like it wasn't needed. It wasn't warranted.
Not necessarily that it wasn't needed or warranted. It's just I've seen it so many times.
Mm-hmm.
Like. Just this year, I've seen that match how many times? Or within the last year, I've seen it how many times? Like, I didn't need it again in the way that they gave it to us because, like you said, we knew that he wasn't going to win.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we knew Dijakovic was not going to walk out. So now, yeah, don't get me wrong. I love good wrestling. And there was a lot of good wrestling in this match. And NXT has a lot of good wrestling. But sometimes they do things, and the wrestling's good, but it has no real meaning behind it, and it's like, yeah, okay, that was good, but why? And this was one of those, yeah, it was good, but why?
Right.
Why am I watching them wrestle again? Okay, he's giving his friend a title shot, but I know that Dijakovic's not winning.
Mm-hmm.
Most people watching this know that Keith Lee coming off winning both titles is not dropping both titles to Dominik Dijakovic in his first defense.
Mm-hmm.
So give me more of a reason why we're doing this than he's just giving his friend a title shot.
Can we just be honest here and just acknowledge the fact that it's WWE, like midway through the show, they're trying to go ahead and give us a match that everybody normally is hyped up for. at this point, a lot of people are like you, yeah, it's gonna be good, but I've seen it already. But then so many people, I'm like, oh yeah, Keith Lee versus Dijakovic. Let's switch over to NXT and watch that match because we know it's gonna be good. Let's call it a spade, man. I think that's what it was. Jay, overall, man, what your takes on the match, man? What you thought?
I mean, well, I will say this. I mean, I feel like they did pull out that match just for for views, just because of the fact that we all knew it was going to be a good match. Now, granted, it was not as good as the previous matches that they've had before,
right?
But it could go into like I'd say maybe if there was a list of top 7. That could probably be number 7.
So it's like their worst match, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I would have to say it would probably be their worst match because, to be quite honest with you, it was a good match, but it wasn't as good as Takeover Portland.
Okay.
I will say their worst match is still better than anything I've got on SmackDown.
True.
In a long time, so.
True. Fair. I will agree with that. But either way, it's still one of those matches where it was okay, but I know they can do better.
Okay, so
I like the match.
I'm just saying you could do better.
Okay.
Exactly.
So since you guys are saying that, I feel like so I don't feel as bad for like not being too invested in the match because I've seen this so much. So okay, so I don't feel as bad.
Like if you feel the same way that we do about the situation, there's nothing wrong. Like I said, it's I love the fact that they gave Dijakovic a chance, but we all knew what was going to happen. Like, come on now, we all knew what was going to happen.
Yeah,
and the post match shit lingered too long.
We love you, man. Good job. Raise your hand. Everything was good, but we don't want to talk about that no more. We want to talk about what happened after the match.
Right, for sure. So after the match, here we go. After the match, we get like another sign of respect by Keith Lee and Dijakovic. Scarlett Bordeaux comes out. The lights, everything.
So fine. She is so fine.
No words were exchanged, but this was set up weeks ago between Keith Lee and Adam Cole when Adam Cole was still holding on to the hourglass that Scarlett brought to him. And Keith Lee went ahead and broke it. And if you remember that same episode of NXT, they walked up to the hourglass and they picked it up. So they poured the remains of the hourglass, the sand, everything. This was perfectly foreshadowed weeks in advance, and we didn't even knew it was going to lead to this. It was perfect. No words were said. We knew exactly what's going to happen here. And honestly, this part was kind of spoiled for me because I was watching USA like 15 minutes before NXT started, and they actually said, in the hype up for the show, it's like, has Keith Lee gotten into the crosshairs of Karrion Kross? Will Karrion Kross target Keith Lee? Find out on NXT. I'm like, okay, so then it looks like that's something they're gonna build up, or else they wouldn't have hyped it up on the hype, like the little like preview thing.
Well, don't forget he was also up in that balcony after the match watching Keith Lee win that title. So
yeah, but it could also have been like him like keeping an eye on Adam Cole. I like to think I left it open for interpretation.
So I have a question.
Yes.
Do you think that was the same prop that Keith Lee broke?
No. I don't think so, man.
No.
I highly doubt it. But if it is, man, kudos to them for holding on to that prop this whole time.
To be quite honest with you, that looked way too broken up for them to like re-break another hour. I'm just saying.
It's not that hard, man. You just put it in the bag and you just smash it with a hammer and just go ham on it, man.
That's kind of what I was thinking, was like you just throw one in a bag, step on it or whatever, throw it down like Keith Lee did, and then just dump the shit out.
For sure. Yeah, exactly.
Think about it. Like it wasn't a stupid question. It was a very interesting question. Think about it.
Fair, man.
It was. No, I can't imagine someone sweeping up all of that sand and putting it into a bag post-match. Like,
would that be the most ridiculous thing WWE has asked of their employees, though? It wouldn't be the most ridiculous thing to do.
No.
It's WWE.
I mean, keep in mind, Paul London was fired for smiling on camera.
Exactly. Fair point, Jay. So after that whole sequence, the one thing that I didn't like was that there was a spotlight on Keith Lee, and then Dijakovic was just like fading into the background, like he didn't just go into a grueling match, like he wasn't built up like a big challenger for Keith Lee's title, and now all of a sudden he's like an afterthought during the entirety of that segment.
He faded the fuck out. He was gone.
He just like sidestepped him. Like, oh, this isn't my business. Let me fuck out of here. And
Bad friend.
Bad friend, yes. So then we go to commercial. We come back. Dijakovic has an interview and basically saying like, yeah, you know, Karrion Kross is impressive, but he's no Keith Lee. Keith Lee's on a whole new other level. He's nowhere near Keith Lee's level. And he's confronted by Karrion Kross. He talks to him in some kind of foreign language, and I guess Dijakovic understood it because he's like, then do it then. They go ahead and brawl. They spill into like some kind of doors into like a hallway area. And he does like a Northern Lights like suplex, like catch suplex.
Yeah, it's a Northern Lights suplex. That's what it is.
Tosses him over like the little like barricade thing, and
I honestly thought when he did that, I thought he fell like down somewhere.
Oh no! It clearly looked like it was just cement.
Northern Lights to hell.
No, I mean, but that's what it looked like though, because when you got to realize the camera angle, we didn't see Dijakovic after he did that Northern Lights. He just disappeared.
You know what that was? That was a camera work right there, because obviously they did that specifically so they can have like a crash pad or a mat so that Dijakovic doesn't actually land on the cements or the concrete, and then later on they zoom in because they zoomed into Karrion Kross trying to untie his tie, was unsuccessful. They go back to the whole thing, and then now Dijakovic's lying on the cement. Clearly,
like with Elias,
yeah,
when they threw Elias off that thing in the PC,
yeah, just a little bit less ridiculous looking.
And they cut back, and he's laying on the concrete, but they made that quick cut. Yeah, I'm with you on that. I can see that.
Yeah, that's probably what it was for the most part.
I like Jay's idea of him being thrown down into hell way better, though.
Yes.
Pushed over the barricade.
I mean, because that's what it looked like. I was like, oh, shit.
Hey, you know what? I mean, we're having an eye for an eye match on Sunday at Extreme Rules. It wouldn't be the silliest.
We're having a horror show.
I don't know what that is, man. I'm you know what?
But no, I kind of want to see that though. Like I no disrespect, no, because Vince, I know you're not the biggest fan of Braun Strowman. I understand that, but this rivalry is actually not bad at all.
I mean, the only reason I'm interested though is because Bray Wyatt went back to his roots, and that's the only reason they have history, and they're gonna have a swamp match fight or whatever. I'm interested because of Bray, not because of Braun. Yeah, but going back to NXT though,
I missed that whole thing, by the way.
Did you?
Everything with Karrion Kross and Dijakovic post, I missed all that. So.
Go back and watch it. It's actually pretty funny because Karrion Kross tries to be intense and undo his tie, and it's unsuccessful. He just says fuck it, and he moves to like the barricade.
Well, you know, Scarlett puts the tie on him. Why wouldn't you have Scarlett untie it for him? Like, come on. You know he doesn't do his own ties. Look at that guy.
I mean, we could just talk about the fact that Scarlett was looking like scrumptious tonight.
Oh, dude.
But when doesn't she, though? Every single time. It's the Chicago thing, man. She's a Chicago.
You know those Midwest girls.
Yeah, those Midwest girls. So yes, so that helped to set up their match for next week. We'll talk more about predicting for the match because I like to close off the shows with predictions. That's kind of our thing. So next up, we had Timothy Thatcher, basically in a squash match against Denzel Desjardins, a guy that I've seen in the NXT live scene a little bit. He's pretty cool, chill guy. Very quick, easy match. Denzel was able to get some mat wrestling in there because he does have the background. They exchanged for a little bit, but Thatcher does get the win with a single leg Boston Crab, and just like he was doing in his little vignette videos, he won the match and then went and reapplied the submission hold, adding insult to injury. Only Lorcan comes out, makes the save. It looks like they're not done anytime soon. Thatcher retreats and might be setting up a rematch down the line.
I love it.
Yeah.
Like I want this thing between Oni. I'm like, to be quite honest with you, like Oni Lorcan's been one of the wrestlers that I kind of slept on.
Mm-hmm.
But as I started watching NXT, like he's actually pretty good. Like he's like one of those it's not one of those old school wrestlers, but he's like one of those technical. He reminds me of like an Austin mixed with a Bret Hart.
Austin with Bret Hart, man, damn, those are some lofty comparisons for Oney Lorcan. I don't know if I see that, but hey, man, I'm glad you're high on him.
I think what he's saying is he's got the black trunks, the boots, the bald head, not anything that you'd think would be special, but he's also got the Bret Hart's technical ability.
Oh, okay.
So the guy can go in the ring. He's got Bret Hart's technical ability, but looking at him, because he's bald, plain looking, you wouldn't expect him to be great.
Gotcha.
But he's
exactly
in the guy.
I thought
you got me with everything. That was exactly.
See, I thought you were making the Dragon Ball Z fusion reference when they botched the fusion and they end up with the skinny guy and the skinny old guy, and then that's how you get like Stone Cold and Bret Hart when they botch a fusion. You get Oney Lorcan. I thought that's where you were going with it.
Oney's like I feel like he's one of those guys that's like super slept on, and like if given the chance, he could actually do something. You know, like I feel like he could be really good in the mid card. Like give him something to do. Maybe give him a tag title or something. Like just give him something to do.
Yeah,
I will say Thatcher against guys like Pete Dunne, Oney Lorcan, Danny Burch. Those matches are going to be fucking intense,
for sure.
Yes.
Violent, fun matches. And I can't wait till Pete Dunne can get his ass back over here.
I want to see that too. Like I want to see that
for sure. I definitely want to see
that. I really do.
And that's a match. That's a match that they're gonna eventually have to give us because of the way things ended with Riddle. Pete Dunne was the reason why Thatcher and Riddle were paired up together as a tag team.
Vince,
and then,
what are you doing? Don't do it.
I'm just saying.
WWE has Alzheimer's and they just forget shit all the time.
This is NXT, man. There's continuity there. We were just talking about the hourglass that was foreshadowed weeks in advance.
You know what? No, man. I will say this: like NXT has done a really good job with continuity. Yeah. Like when it comes down to that other shit on Raw and SmackDown, I don't give a fuck about that shit. When it comes down to NXT,
right? Like
they actually have some type of continuity, and that's one of the things that I do love. If you got some type of storytelling in a motherfucking NXT.
Right.
Like I enjoy that. Like I enjoy it. Like it makes me stay tuned into what's gonna happen next week. And like sometimes it even makes me want to go back to the episode before and be like, shit, that did happen. Oh wow, okay, that did happen. Okay. So now I'm ready for the next show. Like,
I'll tell you what, if Pete Dunne shows up and goes after Thatcher, I will personally shout you out and apologize to you, Vince.
It's gonna happen. They have to do it. It's perfect. Like the feud is perfectly set right there. You betrayed my tag team partner and trusted you to like protect them, and you turned your back on him. You cost us the title.
Pete Dunne better win though.
Yeah, he should.
Honestly, Pete Dunne better win.
So like you were mentioning, Jay, NXT does a really good job of continuity and setting stuff up, and they set up like Haas nights next week. I guess it's like Haas versus Haas matches because we have Karrion Kross versus Dijakovic, like we were just talking about. They set that up quickly, guys. Karrion Kross is definitely gonna get this win, right? There's unfortunately for Dijakovic, who, by the way, shout out on the Shad Gaspar t-shirt. Like shout out to him. I like that he came out with that. Also, we have another Haas match. We have Killian Dane taking on Dexter Lumis next week, and it was set up by this weird Robert Stone backstage interview thingy where he's trying to make it up to Killian Dane about the coffee incident last week, and then Aaliyah comes out
Killian Dane is about to join the Robert Stone.
He's trying to get him to join the Robert Stone brand, but Killian Dane's like, look, man, I don't want any part of it. Aaliyah comes in, she shows like this another illustration, another painting that Dexter Lumis had, and in the corner of it, you see Killian Dane with coffee. Killian Dane gets offended and insulted. He's like, you really want to make it up to me, Robert Stone? Give me Dexter Lumis next week. So now we have Dexter Lumis versus Killian Dane.
Get to it.
Who you got here, Matt? Since you were pretty good at predicting stuff here on the Smack Raw podcast.
I'm going Dexter Lumis all day, every day. Again, as I said earlier, what am I all about, Vince?
I mean, you love horror. Like...
No. Hashtag teabags and body bags. And what did I say when Dexter Lumis first came out? That I wanted to see him pull guys out of the ring after the match, put them in a body bag, and drag them to the back.
Yes.
Tea bags and body bags. Dexter Loomis all day.
For sure. Jay, you got Dexter Loomis as well?
Tea bags and body bags, man.
There we go. Keep it simple. I like
bags.
it. I'll agree with you guys. I think Dexter Loomis is going to pick up the win here. Hopefully this isn't like a long-term feud because Killian Dane.
I love that man.
I don't like Killian Dane.
I love Dexter Loomis so much.
I miss him. It's like been, 2 weeks? Like he wasn't on either Great American Bash show, right? Or was he on the first one but not last week?
He was on the first one. Yeah,
he was on the first one. So yeah, it's been 2
weeks.
weeks. And I miss him.
Yeah, it has. It has. It feels like it's been longer. But we're going to get him back next week. So, moving on to the main event, the women's tag team, the NXT women's title. Io Shirai, the current champion, taking on Tegan Nox, the challenger. Honestly, they couldn't even get the match announcements out of the way. Nox was not wasting any time, and I appreciated that because they gave the match a little bit more time. And if I'm not mistaken, they got like almost 30 minutes worth of like actual in-ring content. Like, so that was really good. I couldn't get too invested because, again, similar to the Dijakovic Keith Lee match, there's no way Io Shirai is losing to Tegan Nox. Like, I don't care. She just beat Sasha Banks. Before that,
she's 5'6" and does a choke slam, Vince. So,
I mean,
don't count her out.
Yeah, that's true, man. When you're 5'6" and you can hit a choke slam, that's true. But overall, I thought the match was really good.
Here, man. I'm sorry. Like, I can't get there's nothing against Tegan Nox. I swear it's not. But that choke slam is like that's such a protected move. I guess I'm just old school when it comes.
You're
down
also
to
a big guy in the wrestling business, so I get it. That's kind of like you guys' move.
Like, yeah, it's like why are you're using that as a basic ass move? Like, that's a move that ends shit. Taker has won matches with a choke slam. Kane has won matches with a choke slam. Big Show has won matches with a choke slam. And
he couldn't pick people up anymore.
Yeah, he really can't. But yeah, okay. So going into the match, guys. I know you didn't like the choke slam, but Jay, what did you like about this match? Let's talk about the positives.
I will say that I did like the back and forth between them. Mm-hmm. It was good. I like the chemistry was good. I enjoyed them going against each other. I will say that Io need to kind of watch herself a little bit because number one, she did not get off that moonsault. That moonsault was horrible.
Yeah.
That moonsault was fucking horrible because she almost pulled a Brock Lesnar with the shooting star. She almost did that. Because she literally, the only thing that she really hit was like she made contact with Tegan Nox's with stomach, I guess, with her head, but she barely made that. And I was like, Io, come on, man, you gotta watch that. And then I don't know the whole situation with I guess at the in the outside,
right? I
was kind of concerned because I didn't know if she did the Meteora to the steel steps. I don't know if that was selling or if that was real.
No, I think that was by design because they played into it at one point in the match. Io hits Nox with like a backbreaker with her knees and then sells the knee injury. I think it was by design. But if you notice, it was inconsistent because she sells the injury when it initially happens. And then towards the end, she's just pedal to the metal like she just got a second win. The adrenaline kicked in and she's not paying attention to the injury anymore.
Adrenaline's a motherfucker.
I mean,
yeah, I was about to say adrenaline's a motherfucker, man. What you talking about?
It's been a minute.
Play through the pain, Vince. Play through the pain.
Like, bro, do you realize when you get pumped up in that ring, bro, it's a whole different story.
Right.
Like I'm gonna tell you this right now. When you have a dislocated shoulder and all that, like, remember when I told you I dislocated my shoulder back in December?
Right.
Like, and I pulled the spear off and the guy went in, he kind of like got scared and kind of like I landed on my shoulder. I didn't feel anything until after the match.
Fair point.
I was in the back. Everybody's like, "Oh yeah, man, good job, good job." I'm like, "Yeah, yeah." As soon as I sat down and I calmed down, I felt nothing but sharp pain in my arm. It was horrible.
I broke my ankle. Like it. You remember the first Resident Evil movie where the zombies first show up and there's that dude and he's dragging his ankle and it's actually like cocked to the inside.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's how my ankle looked. I fell off the hood of a car, snapped my ankle to the inside. I got up, got into a car, and rode to the hospital, and I did not feel anything until I got into the room and they set the ankle back. I was so pumped up on adrenaline. I felt nothing in that foot.
Jesus. I can't.
Adrenaline is a bitch, man. It is.
I can't relate. I have you know what? That's a lie. I actually, because of adrenaline, I actually got bit by a dog once when I was in high school, and I did not feel the dog bites until I got to the hospital. I actually had more pain from the injections, from like trying to numb my skin so they can like get stitches on the cut. I felt that more than I did the actual dog bite, and I had the dog hanging off my forearm while it was happening, and I felt nothing. So you know what? You guys are right. You're right. Adrenaline is a hell of a drug. But Matt, positivity here, man. What did you like about this match, though?
Both Tegan and Io are really good workers. They, like he said, they, other than one or two little things here or there, like they've got really good chemistry. These two can go. They put on a fantastic match. They're entertaining all the way. Just because I don't like Tegan's chokeslam personally, it is what it is. Like they went all out and they had a main event match. And as you said, you didn't think Tegan was going to win, but with the promo package last week and everything, like you thought, I personally thought probably not, but maybe.
They did a good job at hyping her up, though.
They're big on Tegan. Tegan had a really good showing in this match. I think my favorite part was what we haven't talked about yet, which was after the match, though. So.
Yes. So we're gonna get into it. Like I said, the finish was Tegan going for the Chinese Wizard, gets reversed into the Palm Strike, sets up the moonsault, which, like Jay alluded to, barely hits the moonsault. She goes to the top of the stage. She starts to celebrate and then just gets cocked with a big boot by Dakota Kai on the side of her face. That's how we end off NXT. And this is the match I was waiting for. I was hyped for, because Dakota Kai has been calling out Io Shirai for weeks after weeks after weeks, and then she doesn't win the Fatal 4-Way to get the number one contendership. So now it looks like that's the next path for Io Shirai. I wouldn't be surprised if Dakota Kai gets thrown in there, just like you were saying earlier, Matt, the fluffer. She might be the fluffer for this feud. We don't know. It could be a triple threat. It could just be Dakota Kai versus Io.
Here's my thing, though. What if they let Dakota Kai win, though?
See, I wouldn't be mad at that. I wouldn't be mad at all if that happens, man.
What if they? Keep in mind, look, she's got Raquel Gonzalez now.
Right.
She's got muscle. Like, she could be unstoppable. She could be that heel that
they could be
pretty much like just takes down the women's revolution of NXT. It could happen.
The Shawn and Diesel of NXT.
Exactly. That's Big Mama Cool. Mama Cool, baby.
And funny enough, I think even Dakota herself, either via a tweet or an interview or somewhere, I don't remember where this information comes from, but it's in the back of my head, where Dakota Kai actually said that Shawn has compared her and Raquel Gonzalez to himself and Diesel back in the day. So if Shawn Michaels sees it, why not give us that? Honestly, I would be all for this. I think Dakota Kai should have a title run. I don't know if it's in the cards just yet. Io Shirai is probably like the biggest name they got going for them on NXT.
But we don't know. Like I said, we don't know exactly what NXT has brewing right now. Because
Rhea Ripley's still in the wings.
What's next for Io? Like that's the issue. That's the name, the thing right now.
I've got so many things I want to see Io do before she drops that title. I'd love to see Io Tony Storm.
Mm-hmm.
That may not happen.
Yeah, like there's NXT UK talent I'd like to see. Obviously, I want to see this Io Dakota Kai. Captain Kangaroo came out of nowhere and concussed the fuck out of Io, and it was amazing. The way she's been hitting these kicks, the way she turned on Tegan Knox with the kick in the cage, now coming out and just taking out the champion with the kick on the rampway. They've really fixed the problem that they had with Dakota Kai originally when she was that kind of plain Jane babyface, captain team kick, happy, smiling all the time.
Oh no, she's no that mean streak is beautiful right now. Like I've loved the new switch that Dakota Kai has put on. It's good, it's great. Just like with Io, that was good too.
Yeah,
her heel turn was great. I mean, but what's next for her though?
I mean, right, for the immediate future, it does look like it's definitely Dakota Kai Io Shirai in the immediate future. After that, maybe a Mercedes Martinez. Rhea Ripley they showed a tweet of hers before the match saying that she's going to focus back on the NXT title. Maybe
I don't see Rhea Ripley getting.
No, I don't think she'll get the title, but I think they will do that match, Io versus Rhea, for the title down the line.
They might even temporarily pair up Io and Rhea to take on Dakota and Raquel. And Raquel and Rhea are really good friends behind scenes. Like when Rhea started doing that heel turn that she did when she first started doing this whole Punk thing. Yeah, I think she even teamed with her when she was still Reina, but they did a lot of like backstage social media stuff with Reina and Rhea. They're real close, so they might use to offset when they get Rhea back in this Raquel as a factor as well.
For sure. I'd be totally into that, man. But overall, I thought NXT was a solid show. It was definitely not as good as the last 2 weeks, but that's to be expected. They just got off the 2 Great American Bash like shows, and
I was gonna say like that was just the GAB was like a pay-per-view, so like that's expected. Like GAB was literally our 2 week pay-per-view, and this is the NXT after the pay-per-view. That's pretty much what it is.
One question I want to ask you guys, because this is how I felt. Did you guys feel like NXT was like the aesthetic and the production of everything felt like lesser quality when going back to the black and gold? Because I remember like the last 2 weeks, like it just got used to the red, white, and blue. Everything just popped a little bit more. It felt like a bigger show, like how they present Raw, SmackDown, and AEW. And then they just went back to like more the grungier look of NXT with the black and gold, and it felt more like an indie show to me. Did you guys get that vibe as well, or is that just me?
I mean, not me. I don't know. I see Jay's wheels turning. He's really thinking about it, but watching it back, I didn't get that. But as you said, Great American Bash was supposed to be a level up from what we got. So it wasn't supposed to be regular NXT TV. It was supposed to be that extra. And you get that with the takeovers. You get that little bump up in production value for takeovers, and that's kind of what this was. So
for sure.
It's not like we've had when was the last time we had a takeover? It was in your house.
Yeah. And that felt like a big show, for sure.
And that felt like a huge show. Yeah. I get what you're saying though, Vince. Like it did kind of feel like it was a step down for production. But like I said, like the Great American Bash has always been considered as a pay-per-view. So pay-per-views are always one step up. Yeah. Like in production. They're always that way. They've always been that way. Always have, always will be. Yeah. It's just like how it's just like, I mean, we're not gonna get always a SmackDown or a Raw that's like huger than a pay-per-view. That the only ones that we ever get is the Raw after Mania. And that's it.
Yeah, this isn't WCW where they do all the good shit on TV and put out shitty pay-per-views. Like,
exactly.
That's true.
That's not how we do things around here.
Yeah, that's true. But overall, I thought it was a solid episode. I don't know if this is going to be enough for them to win like 4 weeks in a row in the ratings. That's not us caring about the ratings. That's just me giving shit to people that care about the ratings.
Me being honest, I don't think that NXT will get the win in the ratings this week, but it was a solid show either way.
I enjoyed it. I thought it was good.
But Vince, they didn't win. What about the demographics?
Oh, the key 18 to 49 demos. The demos.
We got the demographics.
But with that being said, Matt, thank you for joining us once again. Like always, if it's not said already, I'm gonna say it again. You're more than welcome to join us whenever you feel like it. You're basically an honorary member of the podcast at this point. And yes, don't tell anyone else that I bring onto the podcast. But yeah, man, you're my favorite guest that we bring onto the show. But before we sign off, please let everyone know where they can find you and where they can find your show and anything coming up this week.
You guys can find us on YouTube. Again, that's Creation World. Anything that you guys need for that, you guys can find at Matt Ridder. That is at MattRidder on Twitter. The link trees are in my profile. It's Linktree/Creation World. That'll get you the video format on YouTube and most importantly on Pornhub, because we are the #1 wrestling podcast on Pornhub. So you guys can find us there. Easy. Also, Linktree/Smacking It Raw. That'll get you all the audio versions of our podcast. And
follow that man.
Last week, we had RN, who is, he even called Vince out for, ruining his name, and now nobody can say his name right, on our show. So he's all sorts of mad that Travis called him R.L. Stein, and he blamed Vince because he said Vince started this. It's a really entertaining show. We love Arn, so come check that out.
Yeah.
Come check us out. If you guys like this show and you like it a little bit raunchier with a little more talk about porn and sexual innuendo, you're going to love the Smackin' Raw podcast.
Yeah, I'll try to incorporate a little bit. As you can tell on this week's episode, you came in, man, so I had to get a little bit more raunchier than
I did want to correct you, though. Technically, Dakota Kai's the fluffer for Tegan, or Tegan Knox is the fluffer for Dakota Kai. She prepped EO for Dakota.
Fair point. Good. I think that's the perfect way to close off the show. Thank you guys for listening.
Not necessarily, though.
What?
Not necessarily, though. You got to remember Wrestling World News, though.
Oh, yeah. Check out WrestlingNewsWorld.com for sure. Go ahead and check us out on YouTube. Make sure you give this episode a download. But, yeah, we're going to sign that off. On that wise note from Matt, he properly corrected me. He knows what he's talking about. Check his stuff out, obviously. Like I said, last week's episode, RN guested. RN will be back next week. If you guys miss RN.
Vince, did you get a haircut?
No, man. I just always look this fresh.
Hashtag Smacked NXT.
Oh!
Hashtag Smacked NXT. If you ever want to send this question, it's not taking off how we wanted to. But it's coming along. It's coming along. But thank you guys. This has been the Smack Raw podcast, our NXT recap episode. We'll catch you guys next week. Catch you later, y'all.
Deuces.
Bask in his glory hole.